Okay, here we go. I apologize here. Uh, Pretty much, uh, I think I'm streaming, and when I look at my live stats, it keeps telling me that I am not streaming. So, again, apologize for this. So, pretty much, I'm going to start over assuming that I've been at Be Right Back for the last 15 minutes. All right. So, we're going to start over again because, yay for recordings and whatnot. So, welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, and this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Uh, Today's show is going to be about the Wakanda map, and I might throw in another map just for good measure, depending on how time is gone. Now, I'm mainly doing the Wakanda map because, yes, the Black Panther movie has come out, but also it's a valid map for us to look at in the meta. So, yay. All right. With that being said, let's sort of get this party started. Uh, my my Photoshop mouse foo is getting a little bit better. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. All right, so we got the top of the key and the bottom of the key, and as you can see, both sides have distinctive advantages and disadvantages. So if we're looking at the top of the key, we can see a couple of cool things, and I'm going to try to outline as much stuff as I possibly can with a smiley face, or actually just a neutral face. So this is the mouth right here in the middle. And so if you're going to TK, you're going to be primarily TKing right here. Okay? And if you're hiding out, you're going to be hiding out right here. And then I draw a little eyeball there and an eyeball there, and then we have a little face. Okay. So those are your areas. Like if you're hiding out, you're trying to take a defensive position. You were put on this map. You're going to go into one of the little eyeball locations. Okay. Now, the issue with TK in this map is that once you get TK'd out, you're going to be in water more than likely. So just make sure that you're able to ignore the water, because if you can't, you're going to have problems. Okay. Now I know some people might say, "Hey, man, why don't we set up over here on the side and then TK out like so?" Okay. Again, you're going to have the same problem. If you can't ignore hindering terrain, you're just smack dab in the middle of it. And this could be a bigger issue for you later on because there's more hindering terrain for you to navigate out of instead of one single puddle of water. Okay? And even still, if you got TK'd like up to there, you could still easily walk to a single square, or even here. You can walk to a single square of hindering, so that if you don't really have a lot of improved movement, ignores hindering, or you don't have any at all, you're not completely stuck. You can still get out and do things. Okay. Now, when I lost my line. Okay, so the other thing is that usually we're going to be departing from the top area. We're going to go to one of four places. We're either going right here, right in here somewhere, right here, or right here. There's very little reason to go right in here. And let's go into that real briefly. You want to go up on the corners behind this blocking so that you can secure your firing lanes like so. Okay. And you're going to be in this general area here, in these areas here, mainly if and only if your defenses are high, you have some other element there that's boosting all that stuff up, making it easier to operate. Okay, so you don't want to be out in this middle. So I'm going to just clear everything out, and I'll sort of explain why. So you're out in this middle, and we're going to use a nice bright red. We're out in this, I would call the danger zone. You're not getting any bonuses. You're getting, zero dinero. Okay, that's worse than $0. Because dinero is like less than pesos, I think. Yeah, bad joke. But yeah, you don't have any bonuses. You don't have anything that's cool. You may or may not be in water. Okay, and behind you is this blocking terrain which you're not getting any advantage of, and in front of you is this opening, completely open area which you're not getting any advantage from. So yeah, like that, it's completely pointless being in the middle. So the only reason I can see you being in the middle is if you do not have any improved movement, ignores hindering, and if you don't, I have no clue why you picked this map to operate from unless you were planning to turtle up. And even still, this is not the best map to turtle up unless you want to like stat turtle. And again, if you want to stat turtle, then you're talking about playing the boxing ring, and then you're placing it somewhere in there ish, so that when your opponent shoots at you, they're -2 attack plus you're the +2 defense. So it's more way more in your favor to do that. But again, by just being out here in the center is a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. All right. So we've talked about the top of the key. Let's talk about the bottom of the key. What advantages do we have at the bottom of the key? Well, I think first off is that let me not use red, because red is going to be our bad color. Like, danger, Will Robinson, danger. First off, if you're on the bottom of the key and you're picking the bottom of the key, you're looking for a couple of elements. Number one, you want quick access to water terrain. Okay, that's important. If you get a bonus like with your Flora Colossal, or your King Shark is able to go full on, improve movement, ignores everything, or hey, I can do a full move charge out of water, then great. Like, you want to start here, okay? Because then you can sort of be locked and loaded. Like, oh, I'm in water, you can't draw a line of fire to me, haha. Like, cool. Like, that's great. Also, it's easy for you to TK into water if water is something that you're looking for. Okay? Just real easy for you to do that. The next thing that we're looking at as an advantage of being on the bottom is that we have TK lanes just completely wide open. And I think that's a very, very important thing to talk about your TK lanes being completely wide open. Just like your chi and your chakra, you don't want block TK lanes. Okay? Don't want block lanes. You can't do that Kagenubu Jitsu. Yeah, just butchered that. I just butchered that. So that's our real huge scape. This is how wide our sort of TK is, and we need to keep that in mind. So I'm making this triangle-ish area. So we're trying to hit these zones, and they're similar zones than we did before. But what we have to realize is, number one, we don't really have a defensive formation to go into. So trying to be on the 16 line is completely worthless. It's completely worthless. Now I know some people would say like, no, Dark Logos, I can do the other vector stuff too. Okay, I can do a vector stuff, and this looks like a kite. Bloop. This is a kite. But yeah, you could do the vector stuff, man. But look at it. You don't have anything to fall back to if you get hurt. The only thing that you could do is go forward into your opponent's territory. Like, oh, I'm here and I'm shooting, and let's just say I magically get this shot off to somebody over here. They can just easily be like, all right, medic time. And you're going to be like, oh, shucks, that sucks. It's not good for you. Okay? So what we want is we want the ability to go out there and be aggressive. Like the only reason you're defensive from this perspective is if you have something that just says, hey, I have stealth and my opponent doesn't have stealth, and I can immediately park right in here. Okay? Now, I hate to say it like this. If you have improved movement destroys blocking, sorry, not improved movement destroys blocking. If you don't have improved movement ignores hindering on your team, homie, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it way wrong. And the main reason I say that is we've been given enough tools to deal with stealth that I wouldn't say stealth is dead in that we have killed him. But I will say is that stealth as a dependable mechanic is something that I don't think is there. And so what we have to keep in mind is that if we're not packing some way of dealing with stealth, then we're automatically putting ourselves in a really bad situation. And we're allowing the ghost of classic stealth to come back. And you don't want that. You never want that. Now, in Sealed, stealth is way powerful in Sealed than it is in Constructed. So, yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. So, again, this area right here is great because if you have any bonuses that come with hindering terrain, you're automatically in the hindering from jump stump. And if you can be defensive in this big belly button area that I've cross-sectioned out, then great. All right. Let's progress a bit. So when we look at it, we encounter a couple of cool, interesting things. First cool, interesting thing. If everybody has some, either there's no stealth, or everybody has improved targeting, ignores hindering, which if you're designed to play on this map, I would recommend that you have, then our engages are going to be pretty much where the hindering is. Very rarely it's going to be here in that center, okay? And even more so, it's going to be even rarely back here, okay? If it's back here, that means things went south for somebody, because there's no good reason unless you have hypersonic speed and can't ignore hindering for the fight to be back here, okay, on the top of the key. All right, so most of the fight is going to be in a good 2/3 of the map. We're either going to be utilizing range, or we're just going to be running up on each other, being like, "Bam, what's going on, homie?" And I think that is what makes Wakanda a really good map. Okay, now this top of the key crap. If I was, again, designing this, I wouldn't have given that. I would have just been like, yo, this is the jungle, homie. You gotta toughen up. Like, I would have made it like all this here would have been hindering. Something like that. Maybe maybe even dip a little lower. Like, yeah. So all that's hindering. And you would have like sprinkles of clear terrain and stuff. And I may even add some like water here and some water there. But again, I am not the map designer guy. So yeah, I'm not Steve. And for those who don't know, go back like 5 years on ClicksCast. And actually, if you go back like further than that, the main guy that started ClicksCast, Steve and Gouda, I don't like Steve, and I don't like Gouda from what they did to stoke the fire between the casual and hardcore hate, because they stroked that fire hard. But because of various things, and Steve designs all the maps. He designs the maps for Rock, and he designs the maps for WizKids. And I don't think a lot of folks understand that. And I think that's important. That most people do not understand that there's one person doing all the maps. So if anyone feels like there's a flaw with the maps, I would feel like you would probably want to give proper critique on the map. Now again, in this situation, I get it. I'm not really calling this a full-on complaint. Maybe a preference, but not a full-on complaint. The map, otherwise, it's fine. Now, if WizKids was like, yo, add this +2 defense mechanic into there, then yeah, I sort of see a problem. But other than that, yeah. So, as we're going on, we can see that by having this huge area for fights to happen, we're going to see a couple of big things. All right. So first off, if someone is in a grassy area, let's talk about that. If someone's in a grassy area, more than likely one of two things are going to be happening. You're shooting from grassy area to grassy area. Okay? So grassy area to grassy area. Or we're just running up on each other. So let's talk about the pros and cons of both. The run up on each other and shooting. The shooting part, we're looking at not having to possess major ranges. So let's just say we're going for some degree of protection, but from hindering, but we're not trying to go too crazy. So E13, L13, actually also L12. Trying to mark off these good squares. H18. I'll make a case for H17 and I17, respectively. I18. Pretty much everything from G to J19. Okay, like that entire area is pretty good. All right, and then if you wanted to, you could just drop down one more level. I wouldn't recommend it too much because you don't have any fallback. But if you start your engage on G through J on the 20, you're good. Okay. Now, some of you might be saying, like this looks like a bad episode of, ESPN, after the game breakdown. Okay, let's look at it and why I picked these squares. Okay, you want to make it so that your opponent, if they don't have improved movement, ignores hindering, they can't just run up there and pick you off in clear terrain. Okay, you don't want them to get any bonus from in their movement for clear terrain. Okay, so you want to keep them, if they're like, oh, I got hurt too much, you want to make sure that they can't just get up and go far off. You want to cut their movement in half. So you want them to be able to. I'm going to change my color here. I'm going to change it. I keep having this habit of wanting to use that yellow, but we're not going to use that. So, nope, that doesn't show up well. Okay, so we're going to have to use the black. Okay, so you want them on this little section here. Same thing for all of these. Like if you notice, I'm giving your opponent a situation where they're like, ah, shoot, I got to go on hindering. Okay, now the reason why when I'm further down on this 19th and 20th row, I stay insular is because now, see again, my opponent has to go from this clear terrain into this hindering here. Okay, and if they're up there, they're going to stop in this square here. And if they're here, coming this direction, they're going to have to stop in this square here. All right. Now, if they are somewhere like down here, which I don't know why they are, considering that if I'm planted in the middle there, then they would have to come from the top. They're going to have to go through too much hindering terrain to get to me. They're going to stop initially and then have to proceed from there. So it's going to buy me more time. Okay. Now, I know some of you will say, but Dark Logos, I want to be on the edge because there's a chance that my opponent will be in clear terrain and not in hindering terrain. And then I would call poppycock on that. I'll go straight up old school Peter Pan, poppycock. And the reason why I say poppycock on that is just look at the percentage of your map from an engagement standpoint, that is clear terrain, that you're really maximizing clear terrain from. Okay, so here we go. We got, 5 squares there. If I can literally cut and thread this needle, I can go from both sides of the map. But that's a very limited line of fire. Okay, again, I have 6 here, and I can make a really good argument that if my opponent is completely stupid and does not want any bonuses whatsoever, unless they have some magical thing going on with water, my longest distance is to there. You see, like there's a problem, and then we make more faces. Yay. There's the eyebrow, nose, mouth. Yay, more faces. Fun time with Dark Logos, kids. Fun time with Dark Logos. Okay, so realistically, you are shooting from hindering to hindering. So you need to have attack values that really make this viable. Okay, you can't be rolling up on this map being like, yo, dog, I got 9 attacks. Got 9 value attacks. Like, no, that's stupid. Okay, so our ideal attack on this map, if we're talking about, I'm going to do my little improved targeting symbol. Okay, and then this is without improved targeting. All right, so if we have improved targeting, we can get by, on average, with a 10 through 11 attack. That's fine. Okay, we don't have improved targeting. We're setting ourselves up for some bad stuff to happen. But unfortunately, you can't compete on this map without being able to generate a 12. You just can't. Okay, because when we're looking at our average defense being 18, and functionally on this map it's 20, these attacks over here still have a chance. Okay, because it's 11 on an 18, 10 on an 18. Like, it's still in the defender's favor, but it's not too ridiculous. You're looking at, 7 through 8. Okay? You need a 12 so that you can deal with this 20 so that you have that 8. So the 8 is a reasonable defense for the opponent. If you have less than that, you're starting to just give too many things to your opponent. So again, improved targeting ignores hindering, or just some way to get past hindering becomes really, really, really important. Like it's more essential than we think. All right. So let's clear this out. So what else can we sort of extrapolate from this? And there are a few things, not as many things as I would like to say is still there. And there's one little shenaniganish thing that most of the time I don't think we, like previously before the rules change, I don't think anyone really thought about this. But definitely post rules change, this is a lot harder. And you would have improved targeting destroys blocking. And under the old rules, you could functionally chisel through here, creating a pocket. And then that pocket would be something that if you had a flyer, a hypersonic speed flyer, you would get a nice layer of defense. Because your opponent would have to blow all these walls here to get line of fire to you. Which again, under the old rules, with so many Cosmic Spider-Mans rolling around, that was nothing. But I think with the Kool-Aid Mans right now, running a nice proper Kool-Aid Man and chiseling a nice little hole down here, and then you bring your hypersonic speeder in, I think that you'll actually end up with way more value out of this map, because you're able to create an engage that most people aren't ready for. Because again, what did we notice? Like, majority of the fights is in here, and yes, you could say like, oh, hey, my figure is here, and on average, I'm shooting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere between 10 to 11 squares away, and that's just being stationary. Okay, and if I was really trying to do something extreme, Captain Saturn, if I was trying to do something extreme, and I'm shooting again like down across the map and whatever, more than likely, if I do that, I'm going to get easily retaliated upon if I fail. Okay, so there is no buffer safety except up at the top, and even then, that's very limited, and we've already sort of gone into that. But yeah, that little trick of just drilling through there with, now with the Kool-Aid Man, I think is something that a lot of folks just aren't thinking about. So let's go over to AC rounds. Yay, Unclick's Doll Man. Yay, Doll Man. All right, let's go over to units, and hopefully Realms doesn't give me a virus. All right. Okay, so you might be wondering, like, why are we in Realms? Well, let's try to look at a couple of characters in modern age that we can, start building our team around on this map. So one of the first things that we want to actually look for is I would prefer to look for a TK first, because I think a TK is going to be the most useful. So we're just going to look for attack, power, telekinesis, and then go. I like my TK less than 50 points. We can go higher than that, but I think you're trying to commit a little too much at this stage on that. So we got some really cool things that pop up. We got Lieutenant Kyle, 25 points. He's probably worth $1. So you should be able to get a Lieutenant Kyle real easily. If you don't like Lieutenant Kyle and you have a Supreme Intelligence and you just want to, stay on TK, you got that. We have ex-students. You could pay 25 points and you'll have Force Blast and TK, but man. Now, I know my argument for ex-student is if you encounter a situation where you're like, I don't think TK is going to be doing it for me, you have some other options if you pay that 25 points. If you don't, your opponent will never give you TK, so don't bet on it. And they're not going to give you support either. So they're either going to give you mind control, super senses, or they're going to give you plasticity poison. More than likely, they're going to give you plasticity poison because it's easy to punk an X student. Okay. Phoebe Cuckoo. Now, Phoebe Cuckoo is nice for a couple of reasons. Number one, we have that wonderful willpower. It's, mwah, right there. Wonderful willpower. We're 5 clicks deep, but that's about par for the course at this stage, you know. And I also recognize that my head is in a certain place. There we go. All right. So Phoebe Cuckoo is okay. She has 6 range, so she can transition to an attacker later on, but not really do a ton of damage. Mind control, which I really think is her biggest advantage on those clicks 2 and 3 and 4. I don't like the stop click. Hey, I am a melee piece now, but she can X-Men heal off of it. So yay. And remember, X-Men heal is not regen or support. It's not regen or support. All right, so let's keep going. Hellion is a boss for multiple reasons. Number one, he has sidestep TK. He can TK multiple figures. It's like, oh, I use TK, now I can use TK again. Bam. Oh, I take a click and I can use TK again. Bam. I take a click. Take, TK one last time. Bam. Take a click. What's up, homie? I got standard TK. I deployed all the team, I'm glad he doesn't have an X-Men team ability, or else he would be way more expensive than what he is. So there is that. But yeah, he's easy to heal back up. He has leadership. He has that Hellion trait and the X-Student trait, but those are really crap. So they don't matter. But yeah, 40 points of pretty great. I really like him. We have this new Magneto, which realistically you're playing him this Prime Magneto. No, is he Prime Magneto? No, this is not the Prime Magneto. The main reason you're playing this Magneto over the other classic 50-point Magneto from Uncanny X-Men is that you're just looking for a higher defense stat. And you're looking to utilize the Headmaster trait with what I believe is New Mutants. Okay, so either that or you just like, heck, I need a leadership. So I look at that as a okay advantage. The range is okay, no movement attack sort of sucks, but once he does his TK thing, he is not a taxi. Like, he's grounded. Like, remember that. Now, if you're looking for somebody that is a taxi that also can TK, I think 50-point Storm from X-Men Xavier, from Xavier School, is great. Passenger 3 for X-Men, that's the key thing. But being able to TK plus have leadership for X-Men, plus include that student ID on your force is magic. Oh yeah, I think Magneto can do that too. Yeah, he can add a student ID. So there is an advantage of having him. And I would definitely recommend Chamber to get a little bit more oomph out of his damage value. Professor X Dreamer. No, don't play this. Definitely don't play this. I know some of you will say it's like, but hey, Dark Logos, he has that violence is not the answer. Free all friendly characters within range. Modify defense by +1 until your next turn. Wouldn't that be great on the Wakanda map? And the answer is yes. I'm not gonna front. Like, that would be great on the Wakanda map. But I feel like once he dies, you're stuck with too many problems. It's real easy for him to die too. and definitely on Wakanda maps that you can't really get any solid defense going on real easily. So there are some concerns there. We got Peace Machine. I'm not real too happy about Peace Machine as a TK because functionally he's better off, in my opinion, as a taxi early on. Jean Grey. We already know what Miss Jean Grey from the Fast Forces does, so let's not pretend. And also the long forgotten Fitz. Now, Fitz is great because we get the free monkey, free Henry, and it's sidestep TK. I mean, what is there not to like about that? When we go into DC, we have Jeanette. Now, I really am not too partial towards Jeanette. I mean, look at that face. Just look at that face. That's yeah. Nobody likes that. So when we look at Jeanette, again, we have that sidestep and we have that TK, and that's nice. She gets stealth, and then she has some bonuses that, hey, if there's only 6 characters, you get to do +1 combat values, and that's not bad. But her range is crapola, and I don't like that. Then you also have provoking the Banshee. Toughness, Jeanette takes a maximum of 1 damage from attacks unless the attack roll is doubles. So she's a little bit more stout. So once Jeanette goes past her first click, she goes into running shot pulse wave land. I will say this, I just noticed it, that Jeanette is a monster. And so this is great. This is probably the best thing that the monster theme teams have needed for a while. All right, we got Lex Luthor. He's not going to be around for long. I mean, again, when retirement happens. But we got TK and the Perplex, which is a lot more utility than some other figures. Toymaster. Really, Toymaster, in my opinion, is a very nice character. But you need to make sure that you get his trait lined up and know what team abilities that you're going to be copying. Mercury. Love it. Love it. 25 points. TK, super senses. He's great. He's Tony the Tiger. Magnifico. Okay, and then Hat. Now, I like Hat because he's adaptable. And he's more adaptable than a lot of figures. And in the modern format, it's worth it to give a power action for a prop because it's a lot easier to pack leadership, and so you're not really action deficient. So there's that, and his stats aren't horrible. And again, I have that same problem like I had before. Like, look, man, his range is crap. But if push comes to shove, Hat can provide some level of utility while also attacking. So I like Hat. He's pick a power, and in the modern world, he's not as good as he was previously, but he's still a really good figure. All right, so let's look next for figures. Let's just say less than 150 points. Because that's on average the type of character that you're looking for. Modern age, range is greater than or equal to, let's just say 7, because 7 is actually, let's read this, in the range of 7 to 9. 10 range only has certain advantages on that map, and there really aren't a ton of 10 range characters anymore. And let's just say we have a starting attack value at 11 or higher. And I'm not going to go into the damage output because we can manipulate that different ways. I wish there was an option that would give me improved targeting. But unfortunately, you just don't get that. So let's go. All right, so Doctor Strange can get it if he rolls, I think it's like Eye Agamotto. So that's not bad. Havoc. I'm more partial to a couple of characters than I care to admit. Um, but yeah, there's. Okay, here we go. This is probably one of the first few characters because she has Pulse Wave that actually does us some good. When Storm is outdoors, if an opposing character destroys one or more squares of outdoor blocking terrain, that includes barrier people. It's because it's not printed. It doesn't say printed. Um, Deal that character one penetrating damage after actions resolve. So there's some cool stuff that you can do with Storm. She flies and then she just running shot pulse wave on top of people and be like, "Well, sorry for you, man. Um, you know, take four." Storm is going to be the hotness meta for a while, so I feel everybody should be able to, get down. You got to get down with the change. Uh, I don't really like him, but I'm growing to understand how he can be useful. Number 19, Cyclops from Xavier School. Again, I really wish he had a one click of running shot at least. The sidestepping is like Cyclops decides to go on a stroll, and on the way decides to like open a can of whoop butt. But so we have Psychic Blast, Willpower. I can't cringe on it completely, but yeah, it allows him to just keep at it. And 3 damage, which isn't bad. And at 60 points, that's not a lot of points invested. And on the Wakanda map, he can just land in hindering and then stop. And then just sidestep and sashay through hindering. Oh, now I'm not in hindering anymore. I made my attack. Now I'm going to, move around this way. Or, I made my attack. Now I'm around the wall. Haha. I think there's a lot of things that could be said for him on this map. Oh, yeah, this Professor X right here. This guy. Him and his mind control at range. Functionally, it's not bad. On Wakanda, it could hurt. Because, again, that hindering makes us 12 at 75 points, functionally a 10. So, take it as you want it. But, the cool thing is that he has defend, and an 18 defend on Wakanda is actually pretty good, because now, from range, everybody that's adjacent to him has a 20 as long as they're in hindering. So, there is some goodness there. There is some goodness there. Here we nope. He doesn't have improved targeting nor is hindering. And he shoots out of adjacency. Iceman, I'm gonna throw out Iceman at low points. Mainly again for this pulse wave bomb. But technically, as long as modern age is modern age, you're probably better served off with like a throwaway grenade, pulse wave bomb, throwing out Sunfire. Sunfire is a little bit better for you. But it is a thought. So, all right. No. Athena would be nice because she would just perplex up her attack to a 13 and it would just automatically negate the disadvantage, but then she loses power cosmic, gets outwitted, and gets almost one-shotted, and that's not good. So otherwise, I would be like, yeah, here you go, here's a good example. But it's not. I actually find it interesting that I cannot find some really good improved targeting. Right. Which I wouldn't say is concerning, and I think is actually a good thing that I'm not just stumbling upon it real easily. I sort of hope that if this Iron Man did have improved targeting, it would actually probably bring him back up in the game. And that's I used to not fly, but now I believe I can fly Iron Man. from Avengers Defenders War. All right, so here we go. Hawkeye. Our first one that actually comes in and says, look, Ma, I'm actually useful on this map. 65 points, 6 clicks, has very, very good stats for his points. And you know you're going to get that damage dealt the entire time. So I like this. You're able to ignore Henry terrain in characters and just, you know, we've all seen it, just pop a ton of people. So, yay on that. All right. Let's keep going. Actually, you know what? Okay, here we go. No one's using Cyborg Spider-Man. But if you did decide to, he wouldn't be bad on this map, actually. Shape change plus imperv. And if you could find a modern age scroll, that would actually probably put him over the top. A scroll or a Batman. Batman's not hard. The scroll, I think, is actually the hard part. And I'm just looking because I'm more curious than anything else. Now, I can't think of anybody could just be like, hey, man, I'm going to pick a standard team ability that's wild cardable. Okay, Hulkling. Yeah, you're better off just... Yeah, he doesn't even have the team ability. Yeah, so no, that's not happening. But who knows? In the future, we might end up from Infinity getting some scrolls, which would be awesome. All right, let's go over down into DC. We got Deadshot, but no one's going to play Deadshot. And Deadshot actually is almost perfect for this. And here's why. Let's look at that sniper rifle power. Deadshot may replace his range value with 10. If he does, he has one target, which you really don't care because he has another trait, a trait that says bang. Deadshot can use range combat expert. When he does, he may choose his range value as one of the combat values to modify. So he can go 10 and then increase his range up to 11, even to a 12, and be a 12-3 from 12 range, because his range is replaced with 10. So there's a lot of cool things that you could have done with Deadshot. And at 100 points, I know a lot of people would say, nah, like I'm not feeling that, Dark Logos. And I can get it. I can get why you're not feeling it. You're not picking up what I'm throwing down. That's fine. All right, but I do think that is something on the casual end when you're really not trying to piss off your venue. You could play Deadshot, and I don't think anybody would be like really that mad at you. All right. See, Enchantress does not. Like, I keep seeing... Yeah, all right, here we go. Supergirl. Supergirl is actually a mixed bag. And I know most of you wouldn't play her at 130. But you can play her at 130, and she's still rather stout. 11 movement, 12 attack, 17 defense, invincible, with 4 damage, super strength. That's really good. And I know, yes, super strength isn't what it used to be, but a cool thing in Wakanda is that, and we're going to go over to the map again. Let's just say I have Supergirl starts here, and I have a target that's here. Supergirl can move up, attack from this spot, and if the attack lands, knock her opponent over this direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually here to here, because I was trying to draw it in this square here, and it got sloppy. So we do that direct diagonal thing, And let's just say all 4 damages is thrown out. So now if we have any shooter in this zone here, let's just say, yeah, like in that zone there, we're able to just get a straight on shot, on the target. So don't I hate to say this, but too many people are sleeping on super strength as it is right now, and it is a lot stronger than what people think. And hypersonic speed super strength is a lot stronger than what people think. But anyway, so going back to the Supergirl, she proves that she has a lot of value because she still has a 7 range. So if you just want to TK her, have her take a pot shot, and it's fine. Or she can move up and land a solid hit, or carry other characters. Now she can't hypersonic speed and carry, of course, but still, overall she's more than valid for this map. Now, I'm not a fan of Green Lantern Harley. Really not. But I will say, with her having Giant Reach 3, it allows her to counteract a lot of the elements that are prevalent on the map from the hindering terrain bonus, so that she can start just, hypersonic speed up, whap some guy, and then, dip set back. Now, if our opponent has combat reflexes, then really that advantage gets negated real quickly. But for 125 points for what she does, I'm not fully on the Harley train. Okay, I can't do it. I really can't do it. Now, I think it's like Green Lantern of Krypton. Nope. He doesn't have the Superman TA. I thought Green Lantern of Krypton had the Superman TA. And it's actually, this is what I was actually thinking about, was Flying Batman. That Flying Batman had the Superman team ability. Flying Batman is another one of those casual, friendly figures that you can use, and people will be like, oh, that's not that bad. And then when they realize that, he can see through, he could be on the map stealth. His first target is to take out your anti-stealth, and you still have to deal with his shape change on top of his stealth. Now, I will make the argument that for his points, if he was 1 click longer, I can justify it a lot easier, but he's not, and he doesn't have stop clicks. And he doesn't have any level of regen or anything like that. So play him very, very carefully. Now, if you want to drop down and play him at 100, I really can't make a case for Flying Batman at 100. Okay, I really can't. Of course, we have Magical Green Arrow, one-arm huntsman. He is the man with the plan. But we go into Joker's Wild before they completely burned us with the new rules on ATAs. We have probably one of the best, least known figures to actually perform well on this map. So we're paying 80 points for running shot, 11 attack, precision strike, 2 targets, 16 defense, 3 damage. He has access to combat reflexes. So on Wakanda, no matter what, up front, he's going to be a +2 defense. So if your opponent runs up on him, he's an 18. If they shoot him from far away, he's an 18. This makes up for the losing the League of Assassins ATA. Okay, when he would be hit by a ranged attack, you may roll 2d6 and compare the result to your opponent's unmodified attack roll. If your result is higher, the attack is evaded. This is not super senses. This is just straight up evasion. So let's look at the keywords here. I got Assassin and Justice League, League of Assassins, Martial Arts, and Star City. I hate to say it, martial artist, and martial artist is the only real good keyword. Assassin really isn't built up, and in my opinion, it's a crap keyword right now. But yeah, like Merlin has a running shot. He has improved. Oh, actually, never mind. I thought it was improved targeting. He has improved movement, ignores hindering terrain. Yep, when he has one or more action tokens, he can use stealth. So, I partially want to take back what I said, but I still think like he is probably one of the better options. But yeah, Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. Like this guy, I've promoted this Superman for a while. He is not the most beat 'em up Superman, but if you look at him and you compare him to a lot of other figures, dude is beast. He is straight beast. And again, if you want to like a lower, wimpier version at 100, you can do that, but I don't endorse it. Oops, sorry, I was looking. Yeah, hold up, wait. Where'd it go? Nope, 135, and then I guess the 2 comes in with a running shot, but I think that I'm not quite sure if that's at 100 or not, or what ends up happening, or why its realm's not showing if there's a 2E. Okay. All right. Oh, it's probably an AE thing. That's probably it. I forgot, like, you can transform into that. Yeah. All right, anyway. If you want to play full point Evil Eye Superman, you can. But I think that's better than the 150 point version. Like, just play full on Evil Eye Superman. Oh, gosh, he's so good. He's so good, Evil Eye Superman. And realistically, I can make a good case for World's Finest at 75 points. And previously, I would say it was the most efficient 75 points in the game. And it's still rather efficient. I just feel that, unfortunately, with all of the changes in the game, it's not as good. But on Wakanda, you can see through hindering, plus your stealth. Plus, you have duo attack, and you have combat reflexes and toughness, so you can't just be poisoned like a punk. Your powers can't be countered, and you can't have your stats lowered by any other game effect. So, functionally, World's Finest is probably as good as it gets. Definitely if you're looking at opponents playing a lot of boxing ring on Wakanda, which is so stupid, and how annoying that can be. World's Finest at 75 points just comes in and says, nah, man, forget all that jazz. That's done. That's done. One of the best duos of all time, unfortunately. They got rid of duos. Definitely one of the best duos of all time. Can't really argue for Brutal because he doesn't have any range attacks he can do. And yeah, when we start looking at Superman Blue, I mean, we already have problems. So that's pretty much it for like valued attackers that I would throw out. Yeah, you can make a case for Superman Robot, but without Justin, I don't like Superman Robot as much as I used to. So I'll leave it at that. So overall, what can we gain from this conversation about Wakanda? Number one, it's a meta-worthy map for over a year now, or just about a year now, and it's proven to be a good map. Number two, we are forced to engage our opponent directly, and there's really not a lot of places to hide unless you're at the top of the key. If you're not at the top of the key, then you're going to have a certain degree of problems moving forward. The next thing that we can determine from this map is when we're moving into that center of the map, we're just wasting our time. We're just wasting our time. Unless we're able to utilize water, our real no-go zone is right in there. It's just the giant death zone. Just don't go there. You're wasting your time. you're wasting your time and putting your figures in peril. So unless you have something that once you're entering into that zone, you can't be targeted or something along those lines, just don't go there. The next thing that we can tell is that in spite of what little amount of blocking that is on the map, it only really comes into play in a handful. I really do mean it in a handful of situations. Okay, it allows us to cut off certain angles, but at the other end, if we're determined to control certain angles, we really don't have any place to fall back to unless, again, we're at the top of the key, and yeah, it just creates so many problems. TK is your friend, is your friend on this map. Getting around is hard if you don't have improved movement. And so because of that, TK sort of takes a lot of the burden off of your team. Hyper taxis are good as well because 9 times out of 10 they all ignore terrain. But overall, TK is going to allow you to have an offensive end on this map because in spite of all the defensive elements in the hindering terrain with the +2 defense, being able to come back and say like, look, I'm going to get around and I'm going to punch you, I'm going to grab you, I'm going to claw you. Like those tactics are strong as well. All right. Last but not least, we could definitely see the advantage of improved targeting. Ignores hindering, just so that your opponent does not have that +2. And it's so more essential than we can ever admit. Now, I know some of you might say, but like Dark Logos, Nick Fury is the man on this map. And I'm like, yeah, he is. But we already know Nick Fury's the man, so we didn't really need to cover that. And I did like the handful of figures that we did look at, just to make you think about it. And there is a case, and I'm going to say it now, as we are moving forward towards Origins, that we need to start thinking about what is the role of Hawkeye and what is the role of Green Arrow in this game. We can't ignore it. What is the role of these two figures? In particular, this is the last Origin for Hawkeye. Okay, so we know that. But when we look at the game, Green Arrow is there to shut down a lot of heavy defensive stop-click shenanigans, as long as the stop-click is on the defensive slot. At the other end, Hawkeye allows us to spam a lot of plink damage, which both are great, and both were easy to bring in when they were ID cards. Now we're moving past the ID card era of them being in the game. Now what? And I really do think that playing those characters standard is something to think about. You can't play both, but you need to play one or the other. And I think that's something that we can honestly think about. So that's it for today. For everybody that came by on the stream earlier on, and it said be right back, and I was talking to the wind because I went to go adjust the light and I couldn't get OBS to work the way that I wanted it to. For anybody that was like, I forgot that Dark Logos was streaming today. Every other Wednesday, I'm going to stream on Twitch. So I'm as soon as I can figure out, it's one thing at a time. I'm still a noob with OBS, and not only that, I don't know how am I going to view comments and stuff on the stream and whatnot, because I am a single monitor individual. But that's it. So that's it. So you can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me, man, getting ready for this year's Origins is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Yeah, it is. Definitely it is. There's some things that I want to do, and they're going to cost me way more money than I wanted to. So, Yeah, so you can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com if you wish to opine. Keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Let me know what you think about the stream format. I'm willing to take feedback. I am always going to upload to YouTube, and but yeah, you can always come over here on Twitch and ask me questions live. At least if you ask me questions live, then I'm able to more directly see what you all are thinking, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. And I can look at my stream summary, and I had a max 1 viewer, so that's fine. But yeah. And last but not least, if you want to donate to the show, feel free to donate on startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. And in there is a donation button, and all money goes to making this show better. So I like to thank everyone for, again, being patient. I'm going to be as cheesy as possible. Hell Wakanda and all that jazz. I was down with Black Panther before it was cool. All right, that's it. I thank you all for listening. And remember, we all have to start over sometime.